This is Mickey+Adams in Dallas, Texas. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Good to see you back at your pedal steel. What we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to have a discussion first about something that's been fundamentally missing in my lessons. Now, even though the message has been here, it's not quite gotten through to a lot of the beginner pedal steel players. And recently I had one of the beginners who spent about 4 to 6 months here on my website and practicing my lessons, etc. And I realized that he was missing something fundamental. Now, if I had put together a basic pedal steel guitar video, this is exactly where we would start, and I've overlooked this, or they just missed this. But bear in mind, guys, there's a lot of accomplished players who are watching these videos. There's also a lot of guys just like you who are raw beginners, have a hard time comprehending blocking technique. I get more questions on blocking technique, pick blocking versus palm blocking. How do I do this? How do I do that? Well, let's clear up some of that right now. Like I said before, this is absolutely the most important part of learning to play the pedal steel guitar. You've got to develop this first. Dexterity is very important here. Now, you look at your bar, it's linear, right? It's a straight line. Moving from fret 3 to fret 7 to fret 1 to fret 2. I mean, that's easy to master. You can do that in about a nanosecond, right? Now, when it comes to the levers, that's probably number 2, because it could be down here, right here, up here, left there, right? And there's a multitude of combinations, and everybody has a different co-pedal. So, but the one thing that we all have in common is that when we're playing a specific melody, if we don't block strings effectively, strike strings effectively, then what we hear is displeasing. And what that is a negative motivator. Because your objective is to progress. So when you hear things in a negative fashion, right, they're negative motivators. They deter your learning process. Now, when you play something that's aesthetically pleasing, suddenly your ears perk up, and it motivates you to be a better player, to continue on your journey on the pedal steel guitar. And let's face it, guys, this is a complicated instrument. It really is, but it's a gorgeous instrument. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at some simple basics about pick blocking and palm blocking. The first point I want to make is this. Your right hand and your left hand need to work in concert with each other. And what I mean by that is, if we're playing the upper register here, the same portion of your palm needs to be along the upper register. Here's the problem that the last beginner steel player I had. His idea was that, okay, I'm going to set my palm right here, right? Now I have to be able to pick the strings like this. If it's up here or it's down here, but what he's going to do is pivot like this and reach, but the back of his palm is never going to move, right? So in reality, what we need to do is use the same portion of our palm. Now it's effective on my hand. You can see it's about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch from my joint here to about right here, just above my wrist. Now this portion of my palm is effectively usable for dampening. Now I can use my fingers, but if I'm using the same portion of my hand all the time, then everything seems to work a little easier for me. Now, pick blocking versus palm blocking. Pick blocking versus palm blocking. How many of you can tell me in this simple phrase, did I pick block or did I palm block? Now everything is staccato, so it is effectively blocked. But guess what? It's actually a combination. That's palm, that's pick, 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 palm. Now, regardless of which technique I've used, I've effectively gotten the blocking accomplished, right? Now, in previous lessons, I posted something like this. My palm is actually up off the fretboard, so this is 100% pick blocking. So, one of the points I want to make is this, is that if you're going to palm block or pick block, it doesn't matter. But your right hand has got to be mobile and fluid, okay? So with regards to the position that you're using on your, or portion of your palm that you're using to block, needs to remain constant with where your picks are on the fretboard. Now look where my hand is now. I'm striking upper register. Although I started here. I've also moved up the fretboard. Now, this is another lesson, but basically what happens is, when I strike the string in the middle, like this, it vibrates in a uniform manner. It changes the timbre. That means the string is struck in the middle, so the string is pulled like this, and then when it releases, it vibrates like this in an even manner. But we get a change in timbre when we pick the string back here in the back of the neck, near the bridge. It's a little treblier, and as the string is violated back here, the vibration actually moves down the string like this, and that's what the change in timbre comes from. So not only are we moving across the neck like this, but we may want to move up and down the neck with our right hand to change the timbre of the tone. Another point that I want to make in this lesson in closing is this. The pedal steel guitar or the guitar or violin or any other stringed instrument, they're delicate instruments. And I am guilty of being way too aggressive, and I've noticed this in some of my lessons, where I sound like I'm striking the strings too hard. But I'm not performing, I'm teaching, right? I'm trying to get a point across, and there's not a lot of feeling in what I'm playing. So when you're blocking and playing your guitar, the objective is to strike the strings gently. This is where the most emotion comes. Now, what I equate this to is me and my 5-iron when I was in my 20s, right? I had to hit my 5-iron 210 yards because muscularly I could do it, right? But there wasn't a lot of finesse involved. But this is all about finesse, and that's what the right hand and the left hand are all about. So let's back up just a little bit and go back to the blocking technique, and let's start to have our hands move in unison with each other. See if this doesn't help you a little bit. I'll post another lesson. We'll call it lesson number 2. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you right back here at the Pedal Steel.